Hello, everyone. Eric Bright. I'm the National Professionals Membership Chairperson for the National Society of Black Engineers. And I'm recording a series of videos to talk about the reporting structure for the Chapter Health Initiative for Professionals, or CHIP. And in prior videos, I've covered the first two structures of reporting for the CHIP program. Specifically, I've covered the annual participation form that's submitted once per year. I've covered the quarterly reporting that's performed on a quarterly basis. So once every 3 months, there's an expectation the chapter will submit these quarterly reports that give us the information about your progress in administrative areas as well as programmatic areas. The third section of reporting that we ask for is really the tactical information. It's the day-to-day, what are you doing on this day in each of these areas? And in this video, I want to cover the single most important report as it relates to that piece, which is the activity report form. This is the place where you're expected to actually submit the information on a particular event that the chapter is hosting, or if you're putting on some programming at large in a particular space, whether it's your A Walk for Education event or your NSBE Junior program meeting that you're hosting, or your general body meeting, or those types of things. This is the forum where you'll actually share the information about those specific activities that are performed by your chapter. This is fairly routine reporting in our estimation, and so our expectation is that you'll go to the routine reporting section and find the CHIP activity report form and complete it anytime your chapter has an activity or event. A reminder, you'll find all of these reports on the CHIP webpage. A prior video that I recorded actually shares the information for how to navigate to this page, so I would direct you to that video in order to get the information on how to get to this page. And the reports are all found under the section called Streamlined Reporting, so you'll see that here on the screen. And the CHIP activity report form can be found right here under Routine Supplemental Reporting. So I'm going to click through to that and show you that form. And just like all the CHIP forms for this year, it starts off the first 2 pages with the same information. So it's asking you for your email address, your name, your member ID, and your region. And then all the chapters are found by their region, so you want to make sure that you have the right region in order to select the proper chapter for this information. If you don't see your chapter in this form, then it means that either your chapter is not in this region, or it means that your chapter is not listed as active in our system. If you can't find your chapter, please reach out to me. Send me an email at pebmembership@nsbe.org. I can help you figure out how to get yourself set up so that you can do the submission of these reports for your chapter. My chapter is the Greater Philadelphia Professionals Chapter, and I'm a general body member. Anybody that's in your chapter can submit these forms on behalf of your chapter, and it doesn't have to be a designate. It can be anybody who's doing it. So let's say your vice president may submit everything associated with your general body meetings. You may assign your programs chair to submit everything that's related to your networking and professional development stuff. If you have a PCI chair, they would submit all the PCI stuff. Or if you want one person to submit them all, that's perfectly fine too. Okay, we're going to move in here to the actual activity information. There are 3 sections of this report to cover. Section 1 is the summary top line information about the details of the chapter's activity. We ask for the date. We'll enter a title. And we ask for the activity's frequency. So let's say, for argument's sake, you hold a event once a month. If it's monthly, you want you to list that here. And if you're doing it monthly, it probably makes sense to update the title to include the month of record. If it's something you're doing weekly, find a way to identify the week. It could be week 1, week 2, week 3, for the first event, the second event, the third event, so on and so forth, because we've got the date here, so we know specifically when you're doing it. But my point here is we want to have a sense of how often this program takes place. And you should report the activity each time it actually takes place. So if it's a weekly program, you'll want to submit for each week that you're hosting it. So let's say you have it on November 1st. You should then expect to submit a report for the activity on November 8th and November 15th and November 22nd. Hopefully you got the idea, right? Okay, and so we want to know the frequency of your event. We want to understand what the primary purpose is, in this case, PCI meeting, so pre-college engagement and support. And then if there are other things that are associated with it, you'll include those here in additional purposes. And then you'll list your target audiences with checkboxes here and submit those in your next box. So section 1 is the top line information about the event and what you're trying to accomplish. The next section covers information about collaboration. Who did you work with, if anybody, on the event that you're doing? First question asks, did you part with another NSBE chapter? So in this case, we'll say yes, and we were doing this with a local NSBE Junior chapter. Next question asks about, did you partner with another external peer organization? We list examples of those, right? So if you partnered with a local fraternity or sorority, or the Links, or Jack and Jill, or one of the professional peer organizations, ASCE, AICHE, ASME, IEEE, ACS, or SWE, or SHIP, or NSPE, we want to know if you partner with those folks. The answer is yes. You can select that here. If the answer is no, you can select that here as well. If it's yes, we want you to list the partnering organizations on this page, on this link. We ask if the event's sponsored, and if so, we ask you to list the sponsor. And then we want you to give a description of how you promoted the event so that you had attendance from your target audience. So let me just really quickly enter an answer. So I've got an answer entered in there, and that will allow me to proceed to the next section, which is where we ask about the results. You know, how many people attended, how many were members in good standing. In this case, it was PCI, so we'll reference only our members who were there. We ask who became a nationally paid member. In this case, that wasn't the intent, so we enter 0. If it was a member recruitment network effort, we would expect to see some numbers in that particular space. Wasn't a fundraiser, and let's say I spent $50 for supplies to do the activity as a part of the program. We'll enter that information here. Move on to the next section, and this is the evaluation section of the report. And so we'll ask about a summary of the description of how the program went. We ask you to do a rating of the success level in terms of the program. And then, you know, anything we ask with respect to leverage, and in this case, we'll say it was based off of NSBE best practices. And then we ask about opportunities to improve. Okay, and then this is actually the final section of the report here, where we ask for any supporting documentation relative to the event. So if you took pictures of the event, there's a section here for you to submit those photos here. If you had marketing materials, let's say social media posts or flyers that were created that indicate what your marketing efforts were. There's a location here to submit those. There was a budget associated with them. You could submit that here. And then if there's other associated documentation, let's say an after event survey or some other information surrounding the event that kind of describes how the event happened. Let's say you have the programmatic material, the activity is a document that describes the actual activity that you executed. That might be something that you would also submit in the supporting documentation as well. So this is the final section of that activity report. Once you actually complete the activity report, you click submit and we collect that. And it's all put together as a part of an assessment of what your chapter is doing in the way of its programming in each of the programmatic areas. Things that are administrative in nature also are part of that mix as well. So every time you're actually hosting some kind of event or activity or participating in some programming together as NSBE members, it's important to share that information with us so we can get a complete picture of what your chapter is doing to support mission. And we use that information to help us understand the activity that chapters are participating in across the entire society, and to be able to leverage that information, share with other chapters, things that chapters can do to show themselves to be successful and impactful as a part of NSBE's mission and in the community. Hopefully you found this information to be helpful. By all means, if you have any questions, email me at pbmembership@nsbe.org. If you did find the information in this video to be helpful, by all means, drop a like on the video and also make sure to subscribe to the NSBE Professionals YouTube channel to get more content on the CHIP program, as well as other activities going on in the NSBE Professionals. Thank you for watching and have a good day.